Marketer of the Day, episode 633, Maximize Customer Lifetime Value, Content Marketing, Automation, Mobile, Social Media, and E-Commerce with your marketing superhero, Jeffrey Traister.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We're chatting with Jeff Traister, and Jeff provides digital direct response marketing services. He provides strategy, persuasive copywriting, marketing automation consulting. He does social media marketing management, WordPress web design, and content plus video post-production to companies and industries worldwide. So Jeff does all kinds of stuff. He's been around the block a few times. He's seen the WordPress drama, the Entreport drama. We're going to be talking about digital marketing trends and how to get you more sales. So how's it going today, Jeff?
Great. Glad to be here, Robert.
I am glad to have you here. So right off the bat, I mean, in the past year or so, have you seen anything that we really need to be paying very close attention to in our online businesses and our marketing?
Absolutely. There are several trends that are concurrent right now that are ongoing. Some that recently started, some that have been evolving over the last several years. But obviously, more and more companies today are using digital media in their marketing. E-commerce obviously is booming. But here's 5 trends that are growing for pretty much most companies. Content marketing, more and more content. Companies have to engage their contacts all the way from leads to customers, even to retain customers. And so there's a wide variety of content today, not just email content, but everything from social media content, white papers, video. Video is really hot. Some also trends, mobile, which I'll go over in a moment. But content marketing is important because the customer life cycle varies from product to product, company to company. Some prospects that enter into a company's funnel may not buy right away. So what do you do with that contact? You don't give up. And so content helps to nurture and educate. It establishes credibility and trust. And so more and more content is a necessity for companies today to survive, let alone to be able to sustain a competitive advantage. Second trend is marketing automation. More and more companies are using automation today to build relationships with their customers, but also to speed the conversion from a lead to a customer, and then also to sustain customer retention. And one thing here, a marketing automation system, when we use that term, is interpreted differently by many people. The term first was used with autoresponders, so people equate marketing automation with email. But it's much, much more. It integrates CRM. It involves campaign management, integrates with e-commerce, tracking, marketing tracking. So you're able to enable your ability to be able to see which is a profitable campaign in terms of your leads or even your conversion, and so on. Marketing automation can also involve mobile, which is the third marketing trend, or probably the one that's the newest, mobile marketing. More and more people today, as you know, are on mobile devices. It's not just about going onto a website via their mobile device. It's also being able to interact with them, creating landing pages that are mobile responsive, being able to communicate them through texting, not just email. Just think for a second how long it takes a person or even yourself to open an email. You're not on, at your email box every minute of the day. But when someone texts you, usually you're responding to that text, or at least opening it within a few minutes of receiving it. So integrating text messaging with your campaign is really important. And so mobile marketing is becoming more and more important, and that's probably the fastest growing trend now. Obviously, social media marketing has been growing significantly over the last 5 to 10 years, but it's become more and more important today to have a social media presence, or at least involve campaigns to where you could access new leads, but also build relationships with your prospective audience. The one issue here with social media marketing, it's not about selling a product as much as interacting with an audience, so that you get them into your system, and that's where you can start selling. And then the last trend, obviously, is e-commerce. And e-commerce is not just about B2C, although that's really where most of the attention is. But where the real growth is, explosive growth right now, is B2B. B2B e-commerce is growing. More and more manufacturers are getting into the e-commerce space. And so this is a really, really big trend that is going on. It's a little hidden because it's not as publicized, but it's happening big time. So those are 5 trends that I see that are happening today that most entrepreneurs and business owners need to be aware of.
Awesome. I love it. So just to recap really quick to make sure that everyone out there taking notes has all 5 of these, we have number 1, content marketing. So that way we can put out the videos and put out the white papers and get that credibility and trust and nurture and do all that stuff. Number 2, marketing automation, and not just email, but also tying into your CRM, tying into e-commerce. Number 3, mobile, and that means responsive landing pages. That means texting. Number 4, social media marketing. So that way you can interact with your prospects and then kind of walk them up the ladder a little bit. So that way you can start selling. And then number 5, e-commerce, and not just that B2C e-commerce, not just I'm going to buy 1 or 2 items, but I'm going to make a huge order. I'm going to make huge recurring orders and then go from there. So those 5 trends are out there. And so when you turn business owners onto these 5 trends here, Jeff, what's the usual response? Do they say, I can't wait, I want to get all 5 done at once? Do they say, I want to focus on one? Do they say, I'm overwhelmed? What do business owners usually say when you tell them about these 5 trends?
Well, it's like most things. You have to start with one. So you have to identify which one is most important to that client that you're talking with, and then you can expand that. Pretty much everyone, however, should be aware and should really integrate these as much as possible. But obviously, you want to start with the one that's most important for the client that you're working with first. But quite honestly, the 2 of them are really, really essential, and that is automation and content. Sure, mobile is really important, but if you didn't have mobile, you can still survive and grow. Not all companies are necessarily selling a product online. They may be up to a point of where then they close the sale, let's say by phone. So not all companies are necessarily e-commerce, but the ones that are, obviously that's integrated with the automation. So mobile and social media marketing are the 2 that I find that are lacking with most companies today that have an online presence or want to grow their business online. And those are 2 that they should definitely be investing in. But the essential really is you have to have content. Without content, you're not going to be able to nurture or adequately sell your products and services and build your relationships. The automation system really is working in the background and enables you to be able to efficiently segment contacts and, most importantly, be able to speed up the process of conversion.
Okay, great. And I like that strategy a lot where you say, don't try to do it all at once. Don't do all 5 and then it's all half done. Just focus on the essentials, focus on the low-hanging fruit. And then once you get that completed, then move on to what the next logical step is. And so you're saying that automation and content are these 2 most important things. And it seemed like you were mentioning content a few times. So it seems to me like that's kind of the really low-hanging fruit. So when a business comes to you and they say, okay, we know we need content, what do you suggest? Do you like look at what they already have and you say, we could expand on that. Do you say do video? Do you say do helpful things? Do you say to ask your customers? Where's like the jumping off point when it comes to these businesses generating this nurturing sort of content?
Sure. Well, there are 5 different types of campaigns, but generally 3 of them are most important. One is usually not really talked about. So most companies are concerned about their lead generation. So that really involves an opt-in campaign. What kind of content are you going to give in exchange for having someone give up their email address, or perhaps even their text number, their mobile number? So that content is really important, whether it's a free report, whether it's creating an interactive quiz, whether it's a video or a free trial for a product, etc. Those are really important decisions, and that's where content is important at that opt-in campaign. Sales conversion, that's huge. And so sales conversion can involve a lot of different types of content. Obviously, the first and most important is what content do you need to persuade the person to buy the product or service? Is it a sales letter on a landing page? Is it a video sales letter? Is it an automated webinar? But then you need to have content in between, from the time one opts in all the way to when they convert, or at least when you start to promote your product or service. Not everybody's ready to buy. You want to establish trust and credibility so that when you do make an offer, they're going to have more trust in you. So that content can really be wide. It could be white papers. It could be video. It could be success stories. Obviously, email is going to carry a lot of these messages with links to landing pages that contain some of that content. And so these are some of the things that one needs to think about. So it really depends upon the business, the product and service you're selling, and perhaps most important also is your target audience. The third campaign that most I find very few clients initially talking about, but is probably the most important of all, where all the profit is, and that's retention campaigns. What are you doing with your established customers, with your established clients? Because those are the ones that you can quickly build more profits from, assuming that you have a product or service that you can sell more of or more frequently. And so having campaigns to bring those contacts back to buy more or to make them additional offers are really, really important. And so those are 3 of 5 campaigns. The other 2 campaigns require some content, but the content is not much different. And the other 2 campaigns I'm talking about are upsells. Right after someone buys a product, you offer them something else. So their credit card's already been approved for the purchase of the initial offer, and now you're making them a second offer. And at that point, all they need to do is say yes or no. So that's an upsell campaign. A downsell campaign is another campaign that many folks don't talk much about, and they should. And that's basically where someone abandons your shopping cart or order page. And what do you do with them? Do you let them go? Or if you have an automated system, you can come right back to them and say, hey, I noticed that you were on my order page or shopping cart, but you didn't buy. Here's an offer that you can't refuse. And there's a lot of different strategies that you can create to make that offer really appealing. It's not necessarily a lower price. It could be a lesser quantity. It could be a different but similar product. It could be a trial offer, etc.
Nice. Well, I really like the way that you think, and I like the way that you're laying some of this stuff out. In that it's almost like a list or mind map based, right? It's like, well, here are these 5 things. You can focus on this one thing, say content, and then here are the categories, or here are the things you can choose from the menu based on what you want to accomplish. Because sometimes we hear about all these terms thrown here and there about cart abandonment or about have success stories, and it's just a little piece, but it helps to have it in this whole unified picture that you've laid out here. And you mentioned that what a lot of people don't talk about is that retention campaign, right? People are always saying, well, I need people to come to my website, I need people to buy from me, but they're not thinking about that existing customer list that they already have. And what I like about the way that you lay that out is that if business owners out there are looking to try some of these things to see how the video sales letter works out, to see how the text message marketing works out, well, then why not try it on your existing customers? Because that's less of an uphill battle and you can get results faster because you already have this huge list that maybe you've been building over the past few years instead of dealing with a trickle of traffic. And it just makes sense, right? To go where the easy money is instead of trying to start all from scratch.
Absolutely, but there's something even bigger here, and that is the financial model for direct response marketing is based such that you want to maximize the lifetime value of a customer. Okay, and when you look at the formulation or the formula basically for that kind of a model, you'll find that the higher your retention rate is, the bigger your profit is. So the money is in the retention. There's excessive amount of focus, however, with most businesses on new leads. But leads are very expensive to get to opt in. And many leads that do opt in are never converted because they may not even be the right lead. They may not necessarily fit all your qualifications, to match who your target audience is. Okay. And it takes time to convert. So it's very expensive. However, the longer that you can keep a customer and the more that you can get them to buy, that's where the profit is. And the dollars that you have to spend on them, marketing wise, is much lower than acquiring a new customer.
And you're so right. And you're making me think of the people that I buy from, and I probably only buy from a handful of people. And it's like if I'm going to make a purchase, some kind of like a software or a theme or coaching, it's most likely that I'm going to make that purchase from someone that I've already spent money on. I mean, I might find something new, but then that's, that might take a little while. And it took me a while for that concept to click with me because I went through a whole period of putting out differently priced physical products. And then when I heard that you can have an upsell, my mind was blown. I was like, they bought thing number one and then they can buy thing number two, and then a few more years pass. And then I heard, whoa, you can have another upsell and another one. And you really have nothing to lose by giving them this extra offer. But if they do take it, then that's extra easy money. And it'll probably help people with getting a more complete offer or adding things on. And it's so dang encouraging too, right? Because it's like I used to get just like these little $7 sales coming in, but when I see from one person within a few minutes a $7 sale, a $27 sale, a $97 sale, a $47 sale of all things that they wanted, of all these kind of complimentary products that I just put in there that only took me a couple of minutes to add these extra offers, I was like, I'm sold on this idea. I've been making it way too hard on myself this whole time. And so along the lines of all of us making things way too hard on ourselves, I'm sure that in your travels and doing all your direct response and e-commerce stuff, you've seen a lot of repeat mistakes over and over. And if maybe we heard about some of these mistakes, we can stop ourselves from continuing to make them or maybe even avoid them entirely. So would you say that are there like a handful of just top common marketing mistakes that happen again and again in your travels?
Yeah, I do, and they're kind of all interrelated. There are some subtle differences here, but I'll share with you three of them. One is investing in traffic before you first complete your sales funnel. Now think about that for a second. So you're a business owner, and obviously you want to get customers. So right away you're thinking, okay, I got to start advertising to get customers. But if you start advertising, that means that you're starting to spend money. And as soon as you spend money, you have to have a way to convert that, right? You have to have a way to convert that contact now, that lead, into a customer. Well, if you haven't invested in a really well thought out, strategically, inclined sales funnel, you're not going to be able to achieve that. So you're just throwing money away. And I see that so often is prospective entrepreneurs that want to start online businesses, or even those that already have it. They talk a lot about leads, but they don't talk enough about sales conversion. So they're really putting the cart before the horse, so to speak. Your dollar should first be spent not on your lead attraction, not on your traffic building, but first on your sales conversion. Master that first, have that all in place, not with the automation as well as the content. And you need to think of the different stages. Some people will buy sooner than later. Other people will take a much longer time. So you need to think about different stages. How many offers will you make them along the way? How long are you willing to have them go through that journey? These are all important things to think of. So the other two are very much related as well, and that is many folks send traffic to their homepage of their website. They put a lot of investment in their website, rightfully so, but then they send their traffic to their homepage. Big, big mistake. You don't want to send traffic to your homepage. The reason for that is your homepage is there to establish credibility and to present a quick look and feel about who you are. But that's not the place that you want to send your prospects to. You want to send your prospects to a dedicated landing page in which you're making them an offer, you're giving them some content, or in the case of a quiz, you're allowing them to take a quiz to get an answer, an outcome, okay, in exchange for giving up their email address so that you can communicate with them. If you send them to your homepage, there's too many things to distract them. If they leave and don't give up their email address, you have no way to establish a relationship with them. You have no way to follow up with them. So you just wasted your advertising dollar. And the third mistake is sending your cold traffic, meaning you're sending folks that you're advertising to, that you're spending advertising dollars, directly to a sales page to get them to buy a product. Remember, very, very few people, even the best prospects that fit your target audience, are ready to buy. So if they're not ready to buy, why are you going to take the risk of sending them to your sales page where you're going to make them an offer, and then if they leave, you haven't captured the information? So the best thing to do is first send them to a dedicated landing page with your lead magnet, whether it be a free report, a quiz, a video, something that's of value to them, to get them to give up their email address, and then build a relationship. And then you can make your offers later on, because if they reject your offer, at least you have a way to continue the communication with them.
Right. That makes perfect logical sense. And as you're explaining all of these goodies and all these cool things that we can and should be doing in our funnels and in our business, what I'm like, the big takeaway I'm getting from listening to you is that we should all probably be a lot more observant of the way that we're marketed to, and especially the way that we're marketed to by those people that we buy from again and again. And we should pay extra close attention to what happens when we do buy, because I mean, as you know, Jeff, it's easy to get caught up in the technical side of things, right? And say, ooh, I'm gonna send a text message and I'm gonna send a postcard. But a lot of these things that a lot of these pieces of advice you're giving us are just really simple tweaks or really simple things, like do this instead of that, like have that cold traffic go to that dedicated landing page to go to that lead magnet, or nurturing our leads, or having things in different stages. So what I'm getting out of all this is, if I find myself getting overwhelmed with all the possibilities or all the things I'm not doing, then maybe I should pay attention in the future. If I'm on an e-commerce site and I put something in my cart and I'm about to buy it, for whatever reason I get distracted or something's confusing and I leave, if that e-commerce system then begins retargeting me on Facebook, or they begin sending me emails saying, hey, we saw you put this in your cart. Maybe you should go back and finish it. Like those small tweaks, I think, are the things to pay attention to. And that way we can get those things set up and added to our business and get those small wins and see some results and then get encouraged to do more and more. And we're kind of approaching these last few minutes in our conversation. And I think that you've blown a lot of people's minds as far as the possibilities and how simple it can be if you let it, especially with that aspect of just doing one piece at a time. So if people want to continue this conversation with you, if they want to find out more about you, see your website, see your offerings, maybe talk with you personally about converting prospects into customers or getting the e-commerce beefed up, what's the next step here? Where can and where should people go to find out more about you?
Sure. Let me just address one thing you said, and then I'll answer that. You know, you were mentioning about what happens when you go to the shopping cart or an order page, etc. But think about this: if you're going to an event or a party, how do you respond to someone that starts telling you about themselves versus someone that comes up and asks questions to learn more about you? Very different, isn't it? And so one of the great things with automation is that we're able to ask questions to gather information about the audience. And by doing that, that audience member now is going to have a greater appreciation of the relationship with you. It's just like being at a party or event when you're meeting someone new, right?
Right.
So segmentation is really, really big. And that's one of the great things that you can do with automation, like with a system like Entreport. So here's how people can learn more about me, and they can get a few good free reports on digital marketing, marketing automation, copywriting, etc. You can go either to yourmarketingsuperhero.com. That's yourmarketingsuperhero.com, or you can text in your first name, space, last name, space, and email address to 561-277-3363. So you can text in your first name, space, last name, space, email address to 561-277-3363.
Awesome. I love it. So you practice what you preach, right? You're not just here to talk about all these amazing things that are possible with marketing automation. People can opt in, or they can text in and see the results for themselves. So once again, you take your first name, you take your last name, you take your email address. So first name space, last name space, email address, and then text that in once again to 561-277-3363. And then you can begin to see how the sequence, how the funnel works, and begin to see how to catch up to those few competitors that you have that really have some of this marketing stuff dialed in. Well, guess what? Now it's your turn. And this day and age, some of these systems that used to cost thousands of dollars, now just a few dollars a month, there's dozens of dollars or hundreds of dollars a month. It's all very accessible. It's all easy if you know where to go or if you know who to hire, and it can be done in just a few days or a few weeks in today's fast-paced world. So yourmarketingsuperhero.com is the place to finally tap into all these amazing tools that we have at our disposal. And if you decide to continue living in the digital dark ages in the 1990s, well, then guess what? You're going to get left behind. But it's easier than ever now to tap into some of this content marketing stuff, marketing automation, mobile, social media marketing, e-commerce, and more. So do yourself a favor and go to yourmarketingsuperhero.com and see what Jeff and his team can do for you and your business. And you'll have a lot of fun and you make more money. And that's what it's all about. So thanks, Jeff, for stopping by and for giving us just a ton of amazing information. I'm sure some people will listen to this interview 2 or 3 times to get the list, to get the possibilities. So your website is yourmarketingsuperhero.com. And thanks for stopping by and helping us out today.
Absolutely. Well, Robert, this was a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Jeff. Go right now to marketeroftheday.com/iTunes to subscribe to the show, listen to other episodes, and rate and review the show.